Hello, I'm Dave and this is Logan, out once again for a walk in the countryside. Thanks for joining us. Now, today I'm at the town of Wimborne Minster in Dorset. It's located about 6 miles north of Poole, and today we're going to be walking a roughly 6-mile circular route. We'll be having a look at a few things in Wimborne itself and then be heading west along the River Stour to Eye Bridge before going along an old Roman road south to the site of a Roman fort, then heading east to Canford with its historic church and school before returning back to the town. And there'll be certainly lots of things to see and explore. Now I'm filming in the middle of June, the sun is out, there's blue sky, should be perfect conditions for walking. Do come along with us. Well, I've parked my car at one of the many pay and display car parks in the town. So before we head out into the countryside, let's have a look at a few things in Wimborne Minster itself. The town has one of the foremost collections of 15th, 16th and 17th century buildings in all of Dorset. But surely its chief feature is the magnificent Minster Church of St Cuthburga, which is just behind me here. The foundation goes back to 705 AD when Cuthburga, the sister of Inna, king of the West Saxons, started up a nunnery on the site. A monastery for men was also established adjacent to the abbey. The nunnery was destroyed in 1013, although the abbey building survived. But the present building, built by the Normans, dates from between 1120 and 1180 and has had many additions over the centuries. After the dissolution of monasteries by Henry VIII, when it went to the crown, remains of part of the monastery were adopted into parts of the minster to prevent it being destroyed. In 1562, Queen Elizabeth I returned it to Wimborne, and it was restored extensively in 1855 and again 1857. It's a cruciform plan with a nave, aisles, a west tower, north and south porches, and a crossing with a central tower. It's got transepts, a chancel with a north and south aisle, and a vestry. And it did have a spire in the 13th century, but it collapsed in 1600, and I believe it's got 13 bells in total. And outside on the west tower, there's a quarter jack. It strikes a bell every quarter hour, day and night. Originally it was a monk, but it was changed to a grenadier during the Napoleonic Wars. Well, it's 25 to 10 and the church doesn't open till 10 o'clock. So as the sun's out, we thought we'd treat ourselves to a little coffee while we're waiting. Very nice it looks too. Ooh. Cheers. Well, it's 10 o'clock. Let's have a look inside the minster. Wow, this is an amazing minster for sure. So much to see in here. Let's have a little exploration. Now, Ethelred, King of Wessex, between 848 and 871, is thought to have been buried here somewhere. He was the big brother of Alfred the Great. Some think he was just interned here and is actually buried at Sherborne Abbey, where 2 of his brothers are buried. But there is a brass here close to the altar. And this chap here is Sir Edmund Uvedale in the St George's Chapel on the north wall. He died in 1606, but apparently there was an accident with his effigy here, and when it was repaired, they repaired it with 2 left feet. And this is the organ, originally built in 1664, but it's been refurbished recently. And this is the man in the wall, Anthony Ettrick. He was magistrate before whom the Duke of Monmouth was brought before after the Battle of Sedgemoor in 1685. Now, Ettrick had a quarrel with the folk of Wimborne, which led him to utter the vow that he would be buried, quote, neither in the church nor out of their church, neither in their ground or above it, unquote. Well, he hit upon this method of his remains in the church wall, allowing him to keep to the letter of his vow. And This fascinating clock up here is an astronomical clock. It rings every hour, built around about 1320, and the clock case was built in the Elizabethan era. And in 1593 it was moved from the central tower and moved to the west tower. The mechanism was replaced in 1695 and the present workings installed in 1792. Now, how does it work? Well, apparently the Earth is in the middle, the Sun is the outer ring, and that points to the hour, and the Moon is the inner ring. If it's gold, it means it's a full moon, black, a new moon. Wow, look at this. This is the Chain Library, founded in 1686, and one of the first public libraries in the UK. And it's one of the few surviving chain libraries in the world where books are chained to bookcases. And look at the date of this book here, which I believe is all handwritten. And then over here, what's this? The seal of Queen Elizabeth I. What a fantastic place. Apparently all these books, they're not all religious, they're all different subjects, but magic that you can come and see it. Well, what a magnificent place to explore. I say there were some other people inside, so if the footage is a little bit disjointed, I apologise for that, but hopefully you'll have got a good flavour of what it was like inside. Right, let's kick on with the walk. We're just opposite the church is the site of the old Queen Elizabeth Grammar School, which was founded in 1497. But the school moved to another site in 1972 and has since been rebuilt. I think it's now an academy on the outskirts of the town. But in 1563 it became known as the Queen Elizabeth Free Grammar School in Wimborne Minster. And although the building is still here, I think they've built or developed houses on where the gardens used to be. And this is the model town, one of the largest and most established model towns in England. Originally it was established in the 1950s when it depicted Wimborne as it looked at the time. Originally it was located on a site northwest of the town, but it closed in 1983 when the site was sold for development. And the model town was rebuilt on the present site and reopened in 1991. Unfortunately, they don't allow dogs. Well, I could probably do a video on Wimborne Minster town itself, but we've got a countryside walk to get on with. So we're initially going to head out of the town, sort of in a westerly direction, following the banks of the River Stour. We're just looking back there at the Julian's Bridge, which goes over the River Stour. It's late 15th century with 17th century alterations, and it's got 8 pointed arches, and the bridge was widened on the southern side. And it's got more spans than you'd expect, probably to handle the extra width of the River Stour when it floods. And this is the River Stour, looking very serene this morning. It's 61 miles long and its source is at Stour Head in Wiltshire, and it flows to the sea at Christchurch. What a beautiful setting. Now you can probably hear quite a bit of noise going on because right on the northern bank looks as though there's a lot of housing development going on here. Quite a lot of changes going on in Wimborne Minster at the moment. Now that is definitely the way to travel downstream on the River Stour. just making our way through this little meadow on a footpath, looking for a bridge at some stage, but this is looking to the north. What a fantastic views that house must have from up there. Of course, we've got the river on my left hand side. Excellent spot for a dog dip and some fresh water and a nice place to cool down. Looks a few other dogs doing the same thing. That looks very, very relaxing, Logan. Come on. Well, that looks fun down there. Well, give us a wave then. Oh, what a lovely view of the Stour. And I think I can see an egret out there as well, just beyond the weir. But just crossing the Eye Bridge. I think it's owned by the National Trust, I'm not sure, but it's wooden and it's an old crossing point, once known as the Roman Crossing, because, well, in the past a Roman road forded the river to the west of here. And there's a meadow just to the south called Eye Mead, or Island of Meadows. Basically, the two arms of the river actually make it an island. This really is a lovely little spot just to sit down 5 or 10 minutes and relax. And so this time of year, when the Stour is nice and calm, it really is quite peaceful. Those dogs still enjoying themselves on the northern side, and then this is panning round to the east. And the weir just beyond over there. Oh, it is quite glorious now, quite warm, but I've got plenty of water for both myself and Logan. Now we're making our way across this delightful meadow. I think it's called Eye Mead, and I think I've joined what was a Roman road. It looks pretty straight anyway, and certainly on the map it shows there was one here. And in fact, there was once, just to the south of here, at Lake Farm, I think, a Roman fort. It started life as a temporary structure, a depot, and then it became a fort later, probably used by the Second Legion Augusta during the mid-40 ADs, when the Romans were sorting out Dorset at the time. All remains of it have now long gone, though. Another little update on the route. So we've been making our way southwards across this meadow, and we're now going to start heading eastwards. Looks like we're going to cross the A31, and then we've got a little bit of road work. Well, fingers crossed it's a very quiet road. It's actually part of the Stour Valley Way. and then past a farm and then back into the countryside. Yes, this road that we're on is very quiet. Looks like it even could be a dead end. So I'm just passing by Merley Farm, which is used as the campsite and car parking area for the Wimborne Folk Festival that takes place every year, normally in June, I think. It's been going since 1980, and it often attracts something like 35,000 visitors to the town. Well, we've crossed the A31 again. I'm pleased to say we went through an underpass this time, not actually across it. Gone through a lovely little shaded bit of woodland, and now, I say, we're still on the southern side of the River Stour, which we've just become reacquainted with again. And some beautiful views here. We're at a place called, well, Dawson's Hole. Now, as to who was Dawson, I don't know, and what was special about his or her hole, again, I don't know. But I say the views here really are quite stunning, and are a real early to mid-summer scene. A lot of haylage or silage baled up, ready to be collected in that field over there, and then this is just panning round. Really is quite breathtaking. And what a fantastic way to make your way along the River Stour. That does look fun. Plenty of room for a whippet as well. Right, we've just left the River Stour temporarily. We've got to make our way through a little bit of built-up area, cross the B3073 before we get out into some open countryside again. Wow, will you look at this? How about this for a bridge? So we're heading eastwards, we're say on the southern side of the River Stour, and this is Lady Wimborne Bridge. It's a former railway bridge built in 1853, 1854, and the design very much reflects the power of landowners over British railway companies in the 19th century. It was built to carry the railway over the old carriage drive to Canford Magna, which we'll be seeing later. And the heraldry, you can see the side, is that of Sir John Guest, who bought Canford Manor in 1846. Now, the bridge was originally just called Bridge 77, but eventually was named after the First Lady Wimborne, wife of Sir John Guest's son, Sir Ivor Bertie Guest, who inherited Canford Manor. Now, I mentioned the railway. There was a very important junction to the south of the bridge here, and also, of course, there was Wimborne Station to the north over the River Stour on the eastern side of town. The station was built there in 1847, but it closed to passengers in 1964 and to freight in the 1970s. The London and South Western Railway line from Southampton to Dorchester came from the station to the north, and at the junction the line split, one to the south, where soon after at Broadstone Junction it split again to Dorchester and Poole, and one to the west, then northwest to Bath, which was the Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway. Well, this is as far east as we're going to go on the walk. This is the entrance to Canford School. Originally there was a great medieval manor house here. It may have had a Saxon hall. The existing house was rebuilt in 1825 to 1836 and it became a public school in the 1920s. I mean, it's huge, something like 300 acres. And I was reading that it's one of only 4 schools in the UK with a real tennis court. The court dates back to 1879 when it was a country house. And also the school's got a very successful rowing club based on the river. And just to the south there is Canford Magna Church. Now there was a Saxon church here built around about 1050 and the Normans added to it significantly. The north tower was added in 1180 and it consists of a nave, chancel, originally the Saxon church nave, north tower, north chancel, aisle, south chancel, chapel and aisle, and north and south porches. Now it is a chapel to the school next door, but I believe it remains a parish church. Right, we're now going to start our return leg back to the town, and we've got to cross the Stour again, a wonderful suspension bridge. Originally built in 1895 and then reconstructed in 2012. Yeah, just on the northern side of the Stour. So peaceful. Love the lilies over on the far side. And the birds twittering away. Well folks, we're nearly at the end of our walk on the outskirts of Wimborne Minster. Hopefully find somewhere for a nice ice cream. It's been a hot one today. But what a beautiful setting to end the walk on by the River Stour. We hope you enjoyed the walk today. If you did, please do give us a thumbs up and a like, and do leave a comment, and do check out our Facebook page, Dave's Countryside Walks. So until we meet again, thanks for watching and cheerio. Right fella, let's get that ice cream. Well, rather than an ice cream, I think a pint might be a better idea. Let's pop in here for research purposes, lad. Well, we decided against the ice cream. A pint of Abbott at the Coach and Horses. Oh, lovely. And of course, it's crisp time.